Can we debate standing up? Why not?
Because it's not a filibuster if you didn't
The
know.
political debates, they get to stand up and walk around. They get to work the crowd.
Oh. Someone's going to tell me when we're on.
No, don't be deep, man. Okay, we're going to you guys.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2016 Extra Point Debate. This is the Extra Point, and it starts now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are a little insufficient with the amount of people, but since the debate is tonight, we are going to have our very own debates. Right now, our first debate is going to be between Zach and Tom over there, and they're going to debate about the NBA since the NBA season starts next week. So, guys, who's your breakout team in the NBA this year?
Well, for me, I think it definitely has to be the Lakers. I know they've been on quite the downturn recently, but they've got great young talent coming up. They've got Brandon Ingram, they've got Julius Randle, they've got D'Angelo Russell, great youth core with strong veterans coming in like Luol Deng's coming in, Jose Calderon, players that you know will give you good solid minutes on the court and then will help teach the younger players.
I like Russell's game. He's pretty solid at point guard. I think Ingram's going to come in and do good. I don't know if he's going to start, but
I think Deng will start over.
But where did they finish last year?
Not well.
They had Kobe, right?
Yep. But Kobe didn't pass the ball, so it was also bad.
Hey, he had 60 something in the last game.
60 something in the last game with 50 shots. 50 shots.
But I think my breakout team this upcoming season, I think it's going to be Utah Jazz. I like the group they have. Gordon Hayward at the 3, all-star caliber, small forward. Trey Burke at the point. Exum's coming back healthy. He's coming off an injury, so I think he's going to add some speed in the backcourt. Shifty, can get to the hole, can have a little jump shot mid-range. I like the Jazz.
The other problem with the Jazz is they have Hayward and Exum and Burke, but they don't have a lot of I don't know. The veterans on the team aren't great. The only problem is they have a bunch of young players, and that's really good if you have if you have a good coach.
Yeah.
And their coach not that great. Terry Stotts not that good. So the problem with the problem I have with the Jazz, besides them being too young, is Gordon Hayward is the only real playmaker on that team.
Alec Burks at the 2.
Alec Burks, he's a good spot up shooter.
Yeah, he can score.
He's a very good spot up shooter. Exum hasn't.
Rudy Gobert down low too, protecting the paint.
Down low,
rebounding.
Who they got coming off the bench for him?
Hey.
Can you name a single bench player from the Jazz? They've got absolutely nobody.
Okay, but they were a game out of the playoffs last year. They only missed it by a game. If they would have had that game, it easily could have been 7, 6 as high. But I mean, I feel like Exum, he's going to bring a lot to this team. I know he's young, but I think he'll bring a good bit of experience in the backcourt.
Yeah, Exum, I think he's a great player. I think he's yet to show that, though. So the key will be, can Exum deliver like he was supposed to? And he hasn't really done that yet.
Yeah.
Where about when you say they break out? Where about do you want, like, do you picture them being?
I know. Like last year, nobody was really talking about the
No.
Trailblazers. They got up to what, 6?
Yeah.
I think this Jazz team probably gets six or seven.
I mean, the West is tough though.
Yeah, it's
For
tough.
the Lakers, breakout, but I don't by any means think they're going to run away with the West or anything.
Okay.
I think they might grab the 8th playoff spot that the Suns will inevitably lose, even though they've been 8th the entire year. Sorry, Suns. But I mean, that happens every year. I think that's what's going to happen. I think the Lakers are going to sneak in and probably get thrashed by the Warriors, but they'll make it in there, and that'll be good for them. Like going forward, it'll build the team confidence come next season.
I think the Mavericks could slip up too and miss the playoffs this year.
Definitely.
I think they could.
Although they have Harrison Barnes now, though.
Yeah.
So he could change that.
They have Parsons though, similar type players. You know.
Barnes is a bit more athletic,
Yeah.
though. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays in, though. But Dirk is how old now? 36, 37, 38,
Somehow
somewhere
he
around
finds
that?
a way though.
I mean, he just stands there and hits fades all day. That's all he does. But I mean, they don't really have a lot of playmakers. Although I think they got Bogut, right? Down low, or did Bogut move? I don't remember. But anyways, they have but the problem is Dirk can't handle the younger guys in the post anymore.
Yeah.
He's become a little frail in his old age. So Lakers, I think they're going to do great things. I don't know about the Jazz, just based on we have to figure out who's going to step up, who's going to be the great six man. Like Ingram will be a good six man for the Lakers with Deng starting, but who's going to step up off the bench for the Jazz, and how Exum plays when he comes back.
All right, thank you guys. Now we are going to, us the panel, we are going to judge you guys very harshly, and we're going to choose a winner of the debate for that topic. So, just sit tight. We got you guys. All right. So I'll start it out. I got Zach winning this. Because, I feel like the Lakers aren't there yet. I feel like they got a year or two before they can even touch the playoffs. And I think the Utah Jazz is a pretty good pick because it was kind of out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it, and that's basically what breakout teams are. You just don't expect them. And also, I think the Utah Jazz will greatly improve from last year. So that's my opinion. I got Zach winning.
Yeah, I agree. I also have Zach. Sorry, Tom, but you made some really good arguments for the Lakers, but ultimately I think the Utah Jazz makes more sense as a breakout team because, like Zach said, they were much closer last year, so they don't have as far to go, but they're still an unexpected team to do well. So I think they've got a better chance to be the breakout team that gets into the playoffs. The Lakers, I agree, with what Josh said, they have a little more to go. I think their breakout year isn't this year, but a couple more years away.
Well, I disagree. I'm going with the namesake. I'm going with Tom.
Well, you're a Lakers fan.
But
I want to hear that.
Okay. I'm a Lakers fan.
He is a Lakers fan.
Are you biased right now?
I mean, to be fair, I am too, so it's
Are
okay.
you being biased?
Let the crowd calm down. I'm definitely going to go with the Lakers because
No applauding.
they're a breakout team. They're actually going to be a breakout team. The Utah Jazz, they're close and they're almost there. I can easily see them being like a 5 seed almost because I think they're actually really good. But the Lakers, no one's expecting them. Luke Walton is somebody that's done really good with the Warriors when Steve Kerr was gone. He's going to do a great job coaching. D'Angelo Russell is going to have like an amazing year. I'm seeing 20 points a game. I'm going with Tom.
People thought that last year.
Oh,
What
but
did he do?
that was a different year.
Yeah, he wasn't getting the ball from Kobe,
This
though.
is 2016.
He brought the ball up.
And then he passed it to Kobe.
He had to give it to Kobe.
We'll see. Kobe gone now.
You're right.
That's very true.
That's fair enough. So right now we got Zach 2, Tom 1, and we're going to move on to our next debate topic. Still in the NBA, obviously. So guys, there was a lot of free agent moves going on over the offseason. So which moved player do you think will do the best this year?
I'm going to go with a guy you mentioned earlier, Harrison Barnes, going to the Mavericks. I think it's going to be a huge addition. We didn't really get to see what he could actually do when he was with the Warriors. He was around some great guys, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond. just to name a few. You know, they added KD this summer. You know, so I mean, they filled that gap a lot when when Barnes decided to leave. So
Yeah, and then some.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
some. Exactly. But I'm interested to see what he's going to do in Dallas. Dirk's getting a little bit older. They have a lot of veteran guys down there. Dirk, like I said.
Yeah.
Bogut, I think he went there.
Yeah.
He's a little bit older. I forgot who their point guard is.
Well, it was Calderon, but now Calderon went to the Lakers.
Okay. I want to say it might be Darren Williams. I'm not sure though.
Might be, yeah.
It might be. But it's going to be interesting to see. He's not around those great guys like Curry and Thompson. So I'm just interested to see what he can do.
I think he'll have a good opportunity to get a lot more of the ball, which will be good for his career, or could be bad for his career. You have too much of the ball, it could, you start to see the flaws in his game more. You didn't really get to see that because when you have somebody who's not really necessarily was a spot-up shooter, but became one being on the Warriors, because every player who plays for the Warriors becomes a spot-up shooter, because he wasn't relied on to bring the ball down the court. But when he's a young guy amongst veterans now, it'll be interesting to see how he can handle the ball in an NBA setting and stuff. My player at transition, I think that's going to do really well, is Dwight Howard. And Dwight has not done well since the Magic, pretty much. He had a decent run at the end of the Rockets. Yeah. But I think it's really, Dwight's going to do really well this year because now he's playing in a place he likes. And he's from Atlanta, so for him going back to Atlanta, it's the homecoming. He's in a place he likes. He's surrounded by an organization that will do everything for him. The problem when he went to the Lakers is he adjust with Kobe, and that didn't work well.
He's going to have to work with Millsap, though.
Yeah, but that's a different story. You got two big guys playing off each other down well. That could work really well. When you have, now their main threat is down low.
Yep.
And so when you either have Millsap, and when they cover Millsap, you go to Dwight. When they covered Harden or Kobe, they don't go down low, they swing across the perimeter. So Dwight wasn't getting the looks he wanted, and now he'll be more the guy there. And Dwight's an ego guy. He wants to be the guy. And now that he's in a place where he can be the guy and he's also home, I think he's going to have good numbers just based on his morale being a lot better, and he's going to want to play more. Like when we saw at the end of his Orlando days.
He was the guy.
He was the guy, but he got fed up with the Orlando organization. He was, sitting out of huddles and stuff, and that's not what you want the guy for your team to be doing. So when he's healthy, which is going to be another thing.
Yeah.
If he can, keep his back in shape, I think he'll be really good. Hit some free throws. That'll be key. I've seen lots of footage of him working on free throws. I think that's the only thing he practices now. But yeah, if he can hit some free throws and stay healthy and just enjoy playing himself again, I think he'll do great things.
It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to get him the ball, though. Schroeder at the one, he's solid, but he's no Jeff Teague. I feel like Jeff Teague was better than Schroeder. Harden, he can move the ball around when he gets double teamed. He averages 6-7 assists.
Yeah.
He scores a lot, but he does pass the ball.
Doesn't play defense though, but
Kobe's Kobe.
Kobe's Kobe.
Dwight not gonna get the ball.
No, as much as I'm a Lakers fan and a Dwight fan, I don't think that I never thought that was gonna work well with Kobe being there.
Yeah, that was terrible. But that's a great pick, Dwight Howard.
With the thing with Dwight though, the lack of perimeter players for the Hawks could benefit him though, because now you're gonna look to the post, or even if he's covered, you've got Millsap open. You start feeding Millsap. Millsap's a very good player. He'll score a lot. Then they switch over to Millsap, and you got to go back to Dwight. That could be a killer down low for, teams that don't have a lot of good centers or anything. Like a team like the Lakers. That's one of the Lakers' main weaknesses is the lack of bigs. So any team that they go against that has a lack of bigs in the starting lineup, that could be an offensive showcase for just those two playing off each other.
Now to argue what you were talking about, they did have Horford last year.
They did.
What's the difference between Horford and Dwight?
Dwight, I think, is a little more athletic when he's healthy. That's, again, the key.
Okay.
Dwight is a little more athletic, and Dwight will draw more focus than Horford. Even though Horford may be a better technical player around the rim, Dwight has the it factor. So he draws more defense than he probably should. So I think that'll draw people away, and if he can work well with Horford, which I think he can, if they gel well together, them playing off each other will be really difficult to contain. The problem with Horford and Millsap, they played well together at the beginning, but then Horford didn't really feel like he wanted to be in Atlanta anymore. So he went up to Boston now.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. If they gel really well together, it'll work really well.
We'll see.
All right, judges, let's choose who we think won that.
Got a lot to say about this one.
All right.
boy.
then. I guess you'll get to go first then,
Of course.
obviously.
I'm going with Tom again. I like the way he talked about Dwight Howard. I'm not a big Dwight Howard fan since the way he left the Lakers. It wasn't that great of a piece, but like Tom said, he's coming back to Atlanta, and he's going to help out the offense. He's a great post player for the Atlanta Hawks. That is a team full of perimeter shooters, but they need that big man to take them over the edge, to finally beat the Cavs, to be able to go against Anderson, Varejao, and LeBron in the post. And I think Dwight Howard is going to be the key piece, so I like Tom.
Well, I also got Tom. I got Hot Atlanta going on here. Your argument about Paul Millsap, Zach, taking away some touches for Dwight, that I feel like that won't really be that big of an issue because Atlanta's kind of, I don't want to say they're the Spurs of the East, but they're kind of the Spurs of the East. Their head coach is a former assistant coach for the Spurs, so they know about teamwork. They know about passing the ball.
They share the ball all the time.
They share the ball. I don't think that'll be that big of an issue. It definitely won't be like a hot topic like drama issue. No, I think the Hawks are very good at passing around the ball, and Dwight Howard's going to get his fair share of touches. So there we go.
Well, I guess I offer the only dissenting opinion. I went with Zach on this because for me the question was not who would do well, it's who's going to do better. And I feel like Harrison Barnes is going to do better than Dwight Howard. Not saying that Dwight won't do well where he's going, because Tom made a lot of good arguments as to why he's going to do well, and I can't disagree with the arguments. But he's had a lot of issues in the past, and I think it's going to take, it's going to be a little bit of a stepping stone. It's not going to be immediately that he recovers from this. It's going to be a little bit of a process. He gets better as the season goes along. I think Harrison's performed better. He's a better overall player. Younger, I think he's just got more potential to do well where he's at.
All right, so I've been told that we have a great video package from the homecoming game of Clemson versus NC State where I had a couple heart attacks. So we're going to go watch
Only a couple.
We're going to go watch that real quick, and we'll be right back with more debating.
Clemson celebrated its homecoming this weekend as families and alumni flocked to campus to partake in the festivities alongside current students. Leading up to Clemson's ACC matchup against NC State, Central Spirit sold T-shirts, organizations built floats, and students filled Death Valley to attend Tigerama.
We're back for Tigervision here on homecoming festivities. We've got a current student with us this time. Your name is?
Margaret Utek.
And it's her birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How old?
19.
19? So sophomore or freshman? Freshman. Always good to be an older freshman. What's your favorite part about homecoming so far?
Well, I really like all the excitement. I like seeing all the alumni back. And apparently my sorority won the contest for non-moving floats, so.
Wow, good. What's your do you have any good memories, really good Clemson memories so far? Or?
Yeah, last night a lot of my friends came into town for my birthday, and so we celebrated, and then all my friends here got to meet my friends from home, so that was really cool.
Nice. Yeah, it must be great to have so many friends come together, especially on an occasion like this.
Yeah.
What's your score predictions for tonight?
Oh, I'm just hoping for a win on my birthday.
It would be nice. Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Alumni arrived to campus ready to support their Tigers and show off their undeniable school spirit.
We're out here again for Tigervision, out on Bowman Field for homecoming festivities. What's your name, sir?
Will Grant.
What class are you from?
1988.
Wow, is homecoming one of your favorite things to come back for?
Yeah, absolutely. Our family comes here every year. It's kind of a tradition, and then this is actually the 20th anniversary of my wife and I meeting.
Wow, great. What an occasion.
Yep, in 1996 we met homecoming.
Nice. Is that your favorite Clemson memory?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like she'd probably get mad at you if you said it wasn't. So,
yeah.
good answer.
Doghouse enough.
Yeah. Any score predictions for tonight?
Oh, mercy. I hope we just put it away in the first quarter so we can have some fun the rest of the game.
I think we can do that. I think we can accomplish that.
I hope
Thanks
so.
for your time.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Homecoming brought together the Tigers of the past and the present and ended with a win over NC State.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. You know, it's always real fun every time I get to tote the rock a little bit.
You know, just had to make a play. You know, that's what we needed. We was battling with them all game. I know I had a slow start, so I had to make some type of play.
And you need to win games like those, and you need that to going down the stretch. Not every game's going to be a blowout. Not every game's going to be an easy win. You know, you need those tough, hard-fought games to really build your team.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, people look on the outside, you know, they look at our schedule. After we beat Louisville, they look at, all right, they're just going to keep winning, you know. But every week we got that one-game mentality, so that's the one thing we go by.
All right, guys, we got a different panel over here. We got a couple new judges. I don't know if you've ever
I don't
seen
know what
them
you're talking
before.
about.
They might have been sitting here the entire time. I just didn't realize. But we got more debates for you coming up. We've got the Big 12 expansion or lack of thereof, and we're going to be talking about what's your guys' opinions on that. we got Wyatt and we got Thomas. Go.
Well,
Let's open it up.
yeah, I can start it off. You know, the Big 12 sticking to 10 teams because, you know, it makes sense that the Big 12 has 10 teams and the Big 10 has 12 teams because logic.
Logic.
Yeah, logically speaking, that's the best way to do it. But they're going to stick with 10 teams. It was announced recently, and there's a lot of debate as to whether this is the best decision or not. And I personally don't think this is the best decision. I think the best decision for them would be to expand because at 10 teams, you don't have a conference championship game.
That's true.
So, you know, I know they make that argument everybody plays one another, but we see the other 4 Power 5 conferences have a championship game.
Yeah, that's true.
And you get to see, like, the 2 best teams supposedly in the conference get to play a game against one another to decide who the actual champion is. And it gets settled out there on the field, in between the lines. And that's something that the Big 12 lacks. And that's kind of hurt them recently in years because 2014,
go back to 2014.
2014, the first season we had the college football playoff, you had Baylor and TCU, both with 1 loss. And it came down to, there were 3 1-loss teams that could possibly get in. It was Baylor, TCU, and Ohio State. And the committee chose to put Ohio State in at the 4th spot with 1 loss because they won the Big Ten in a championship game.
And they did go on to win the national championship.
And they went on to win a national championship. And it left all the Baylor and TCU fans rather upset because they had good cases as to why they deserved to be in the playoff. But the committee places so much value on championships. And not just that, on winning, like actually winning it.
Right.
And, you know, Baylor, it was a tiebreaker for Baylor to get that championship because the only reason Baylor got it was because they held the tiebreaker with their win over TCU. So there was a lot of argument as to whether they truly were the champion because if they played a championship game against somebody else in that conference, who knows?
Definitely.
Who knows if they would have won it? So, you know, that's the thing. Like, that's something that hurt them. It left them out of the playoff the first year. And yeah, we saw Oklahoma get in last year, but that was because the Pac-12 was absolute garbage.
Right.
It was bad. And so Oklahoma was that, out of the Power 5 teams, they were that 4th best option.
Yeah.
And they got obliterated by Clemson, but that's another story.
But the Big 12, I don't think you need a conference championship. A conference championship doesn't really decipher who's the best team because the Big 12, they play everybody. they play a 9-game conference schedule. So everybody gets to play everybody. In comparison to the SEC and the ACC, like, for example, Clemson doesn't have to play Duke or Virginia or those teams. Those teams, in my opinion, are mediocre. Why have more teams and why have mediocrity in your conference? I think the Big 12, by having a solid 10 teams, it makes them more credible because you're not bringing in teams. The teams that they consider to add are Air Force, BYU, UCF. Why would they even think about that? Houston's the only valid one. But other than that, I don't think that you should add more teams just to like boost up extra wins. And if you want to get into the college football playoff, boost up your strength of schedule. Like, play the harder teams. Big 12 teams are always known for playing like Fresno State and playing Wyoming. You can't win games like that. You can't win a championship like that.
Well, and I think that's another thing too is they need to add teams, but they can't just add anybody.
Right.
They need to expand the 12 so they can implement that championship game, which would be very beneficial for them. But like you said, some of those teams that they were looking at are not the option.
SMU, UConn.
Houston would be a good option. They would need to find someone else because
Right.
they need to have 2 to put 12. I don't think 11 would be the right number, but they have to get good teams, and I think they can very easily find 2 good teams. I mean, they're considering Houston. It can't be that difficult to find another good team that they can add who would be willing to come in and boost that strength.
Even
of schedule.
geographically, why is UConn trying to come into the Big 12? Because just because to like you be on the Big 12 network and stuff like that. I think we should break it down to the old days, how it used to be like based on your region. Keep that like the Texas teams. They were in the Big 12. You had Oklahoma. All the Midwest was in the Big 12. Let's not start adding UConn and Cincinnati and Colorado State. Like
Nebraska used to be, then they booked it to the Big 10.
Big 10, exactly.
I mean, that's another thing too. Like Nebraska's undefeated right now.
Yeah, and they're in the Big
8th.
10. But they don't have to play everybody in the Big 10 though.
If they were still in the Big 12, I mean, they might not still be undefeated, but if they were, hey, that's a huge win for the Big 12 right there.
Yeah, but I just like how the Big 12 gets to play everybody. You get to prove every single team in your conference, and you are a conference champion. If you can beat everybody in your conference and go undefeated, why not?
But at the same time, they do not get to play that ultimate game because, I mean, hypothetically speaking, that year in 2014, the 2 best teams in the Big 12 were TCU
and Baylor.
And they played that one game, and Baylor got it on the tiebreaker. But what if they had to play one more game as a conference championship game for a rematch?
Do you need that one more game though? If it's been settled once before and it doesn't have to be a neutral site. If you're good enough to like win and be in the playoff, you should be able to go into another opponent's den and you should be able to win.
That's true.
But I definitely think the Big 12, I just don't see them getting conference championship.
All right, guys, we will now choose who we think won that battle of words.
Smooth.
Smooth, I know, right?
I like it.
All right.
I know my name's going to be on every board, hopefully.
I lazily wrote this name. I'm going with Wyatt on this because
Is that what that says?
Yeah. Somehow, some way, it says Wyatt. But when I first heard the news that the Big 12 decided not to expand, I was like, what? That's stupid. Because first off, I followed that for a while, and I felt like I wasted all my time when I followed that, and they just like, nah, we're not expanding. 2, I disagree with Thomas. There were some pretty good teams that I think could have made it. I mean, Houston, obviously, but you got BYU, which, I mean, Utah isn't really in that geographical area, but, I mean, they're close enough at least. But you got BYU and what's another team? Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not bad. Their academics are awful, which, believe it or not, conferences look at academics, believe it or not. So, I mean, so you got all those factors, but I think the Big 12 definitely should have expanded. And just a side note, I do agree that we do need to go back to geographical conferences because I miss the SWAC, the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
I'm going with the namesake as well. I went with, Thomas, but still Tom. Once a Tom, always a Tom. Because I like the argument that you have, like, in your schedule, you have to play every single person. So, like, every single team. And how can you be a champion if you don't end up playing every single team and beating them? Or not necessarily beating them. You can end up with 2 one-loss teams. But if, like in the case of Baylor and TCU, if you already beat them, Do you really need to beat them again? The reason why, I mean, it's not like most like other sports like basketball and baseball where we play multi-game series because they play a lot of games anyways. Football are supposed to be shorter games because of how physical it is. So just adding another game, you could end up with more injuries too. So you don't necessarily need the conference championship game, especially when you end up with teams that are tied, but one has already beaten the other.
I was honestly gonna give y'all a tie, in all honesty, but I'm gonna go with Thomas. As far as like the Big 12 expanding and not expanding, I don't really think it matters because it's a Power 5 conference. Only 4 teams can get in the playoffs regardless. So I mean, somebody's going to get left out. So I just feel like, I mean, at the end of the day, somebody from a Big Time conference is going to get left out if they're a champion or not. Even if they only lost 1 game,
That's true.
they tied or whatever, somebody's going to get left out at the end of the day. But
If anything, the playoff needs to be expanded.
yeah, if anything.
Yes.
I think that would be a good idea. At least probably like 8 teams,
Yeah,
not
8.
6 to 8 teams.
8 teams, I
But
think. Perfect number.
I think that would be good to see college football playoff expansion.
Yeah. That way you get all Power 5 in, but you don't necessarily have to have a championship game.
Then
to
you
get
can
it.
have like 2 at-large and then
Yeah.
1 G5,
Yeah.
just so all those smaller schools.
So
can
Western
get a chance.
Michigan, when they go undefeated, can
Row
get
your
in.
boat. Anyways, all right. So our next topic, still staying in college football, we're going to talk about who's the most surprising undefeated team. Argue.
October 22nd, Saturday, October 22nd, is the day that the dynasty ends. My most surprising team is Texas A&M. Let me tell you why it's Texas A&M. Because Texas A&M is going against Alabama, and they're playing in College Station. And they have a quarterback named Trevor Knight. And what did Trevor Knight do back in 2014 in the Sugar Bowl? He beat Alabama. He beat Nick Saban in his freshman year. And now he's like a junior now, and he should be able to, he's even better than he was back then. He's a mobile quarterback. You saw what he did against Tennessee, and they were so resilient and been able to come back in overtime and 2 overtimes. Trevor Knight is really an underrated Heisman candidate that nobody's talking about. And their defense is really good. They have Miles Jarrett, he's amazing. He's a freak. Like, he is a beast. And they also have a really good running game. Their running game runs over everybody. They ran over South Carolina, but South Carolina's mediocre.
No,
so
that doesn't count. That's a little too
that doesn't
kind
count.
to South Carolina.
But definitely, I just think Texas A&M is going to win. It's finally come a time where Alabama's dynasty ends because Alabama, they're just not that great this year. I know they just beat Tennessee. Tennessee's overrated. We all know that. We figured them out now. They beat them 49-10.
The luck ran out.
Yeah, definitely. But I think Texas A&M, they're going to steal the show. October 22nd.
As much as I would love to see that happen, I just don't think it will. I mean, I know what you said about the running game. They can run over defenses. But Alabama is known for that smash mouth SEC defense that punches people in the mouth.
Alabama does have a good run defense.
And
they do.
That's one constant that Alabama always has.
But let's look at their secondary. Their secondary is not that good. They got tore up. Chad Kelly tore them up, even though they still won. And then Arkansas tore them up.
But see, Alabama this season, they've had some challenges, but they've pulled through each time.
That is true.
And they are coached by Nick Saban. A guy who is, as much as we can not like him.
He's the best coach.
He's arguably the best coach in the nation right now. One of the probably best we've ever seen.
Definitely.
And we can't discredit that. He knows how to win football games. He knows how to win in big football games.
He does.
And this is one that's big because the winner of this game is likely going to be winning the SEC West and going on and will probably win the SEC.
But
Let's be real.
I think if Alabama loses, this is a good thing for them. It's a reality check. They haven't lost in so long.
That's true.
I feel like freshman Jalen Hurts, he needs this because he's been like rolling along in his offense because Nick Saban put him in a great offense. So I think he needs this reality check.
But for me, the thing, I would love to see Texas A&M do it. I just don't think they're going to get past Alabama, and that's the thing. That's one of the things that's drawing me away from them. And I got to jump on the Washington hype train because for me, the thing with Washington is they've come out of nowhere. So they're obviously a surprise team because
Definitely.
the Pac-12, we looked at it, we said Stanford. It's going to be Stanford.
And look at what they did.
But they obliterated
They
Stanford.
did. That is true.
I mean,
That
we
is
were,
true.
when that game came on, it was supposed to be one of the best games of the week, probably one of the best games of the year. That was going to be the game that decided the Pac-12.
It was honestly, it was just a blowout. It was
and
terrible.
it was horrible.
They got
It was
outplayed,
terrible.
honestly.
And we've seen Washington do this all season. Yes, they don't have that great of a schedule because they're in the weak
Right.
Pac-12. But the teams they've been playing, they've been obliterating them, and that has to speak for something. Their closest win this season was 10 points over Arizona. That's their closest win, and that's still a 2-possession victory. Other than that 10-point game, all of their victories have been by at least 30 points. And that's a lot.
But
That is a lot.
I have to go back to what division Texas A&M plays in. They play in the NFL Junior. They play in the SEC West.
That's true.
You can't argue against the SEC West. Washington plays in the Pac-12. Is it the North, right?
I would say.
Yeah, I believe it's the North. I just feel like you can't be a playoff team when you played Utah and you're playing Oregon, and just Oregon is mediocre. I know they've blown out teams, but this Texas A&M has a great strength of schedule, and they've been tested. They are going to beat the top team in the country.
I mean, that's the thing that's drawing me away from Texas A&M. I would love to agree with you. You look at Washington's remaining schedule. It's weak. Their only real challenge left is Utah in Utah.
Right.
But I think they can very easily get over that hump. I mean, if they could beat Stanford and Oregon by such huge margins, they can easily go into Utah and perform well. And Jake Browning,
He has been playing amazing.
he's been playing
honestly.
very well.
And no one talks about it.
Nobody's
No one
talking
talks
about it. And yes, I do not think he should win the Heisman.
Right.
At this moment, I don't think he's the Heisman candidate that should get it.
Yeah, it's Lamar Jackson.
I would say at
Lamar
this point,
Jackson.
it's probably Lamar.
Definitely.
But Browning has performed well enough to put his name in the race.
You
And-
just don't get 23 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
that's great.
his numbers, you look at his stats, they are impressive. Even with the teams that he's playing,
Right.
you've still got to go out there and put up those numbers.
Every
And
Saturday,
he's doing
and he
it
is.
on a consistent basis. And Washington is going out there on a consistent basis, putting up a lot of points, blowing teams out. And they don't really have any tests. They get past Utah, they're probably going undefeated. I don't see how
The
they
thing
could.
is,
the thing with Texas A&M is they've got to get past that huge Alabama team, and
That
that
is
is
true.
a huge speed
But once
to
they get
over.
past that, all they have is they have Mississippi left on their schedule,
Yeah.
UTEP and like LSU, and they're gonna beat those teams.
Yeah.
But I think that if you have in Washington that's a number 4, and let's say Texas A&M is number 1, and they've beaten everybody and they're 12-0, I think Washington is going to get outplayed in the playoff, and it's gonna go back to Florida State and Oregon, the way that Florida State wasn't